Welcome to Cord Cutting today for July 3rd, 2019. This is the show where I give you a quick look at some of the biggest stories happening in the world of cord cutting right now and give you my opinion on them. If you want to learn more about these stories, in the show notes down below I'll put a link to each story. You can read about them for yourself, come up with your own opinion. I'd love to hear from you. If you are new here, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up. It really does help us because it lets YouTube know you enjoy what we're doing. And hopefully we can help you break free from the high cost of cable TV. Well, real quick before we get into the news, happy 4th of July to everybody. We will be taking a break tomorrow, but I'll be back on the 5th, just like everything else is normal, return to the normal schedule. But I hope you have a fantastic 4th of July. But because of the 4th of July, we will not be doing a Q&A tonight like we typically do. I'm probably going to schedule that for Sunday. Sunday is technically National Cut the Cord Day, which is something I think TCL really took the lead on that. Amazon's really diving into cutting the cord, promoting National Cut the Cord Day is July 7th. So I think we'll do a special cord cutting Q&A Sunday evening. Keep an eye on our social media, Twitter and Facebook for exact times. But we'll do something to celebrate cutting the cord. So let's dive into the news of the day because there's a lot to get into. First, a deal. Amazon has once again cut the price of their 50-inch Insignia smart TVs. Seems like a little bit of a pre-Prime Day sale. It also seems like they may be clearing out stock because this TV keeps going on and off sale. Every month or so it comes on sale, but it's back down to $279.99 for a 50-inch 4K HDR TV from Insignia with a built-in Fire TV, just like the one behind me. So it's a pretty good deal. I would recommend you check it out if you've been thinking about getting a new TV and you like the Fire TVs. Not a bad option at all. This is not the new one with Dolby Vision. This is still the older one with HDR. Insignia has not rolled out a Dolby Vision version of their TVs yet. So just keep that in mind. But link in the show notes down below if you want to check out that deal. All right, first news story of the day. Dish and T-Mobile have reportedly reached a deal to sell some of T-Mobile's assets to Dish. So T-Mobile wants to merge with Sprint. The Department of Justice has said you need to sell off some assets. We've heard for a while that Amazon and Dish were both interested in buying Boost, which would be part of a bigger deal with T-Mobile and Sprint to merge. Now it sounds like there's some talk that this deal with Dish could give Dish access to T-Mobile's spectrum for a while, their network for a bit. And there's other assets probably on the line here. We don't have a full listing. This comes from CNBC, who has sources that say this deal is pretty much done, pending Department of Justice approval. Reuters reported, though, a little while later that the Department of Justice wanted T-Mobile to sell even more to Dish, to give them even bigger access to their network and more. This all comes down to the Department of Justice wanting a fourth competitive network. And to do that, they want T-Mobile basically say, hey, you can merge with Sprint if you help facilitate a fourth competitor into the market. Amazon had been rumored to be one of those big ones. Recently, the talk of Amazon interested in buying part of T-Mobile or Boost has calmed down. There hasn't been as much talk about it. Could still pop up. Could mean that maybe Amazon decided the price wasn't worth it for what they were looking to do. Dish, we know, is working very hard to launch a 5G network. They bought a ton of spectrum. There's already an announcement that they found a partner to start building out a network in Alaska, part of Alaska. And they hope to get this network rolling sometime next year to have something live for an Internet of Things kind of network, a data network, and continue to build from there. So it'll be very interesting to see. I guess my question to you is, would you want T-Mobile and Sprint to merge? Would you prefer Dish to be that fourth competitor? Are you excited about it? I am very interested in seeing Dish coming out here and saying, hey, guess what? TV is not going to be our future necessarily. Though it's still a big part of the company, Dish intends to diversify. They've diversified into streaming. They've diversified into things like using their network of people to install smart TVs and home routers and hang antennas on your roof and all kinds of stuff. And now they're saying we're also going to diversify into phone service. So very impressed with the ability for Dish to say, hey, the market's changing. We're going to adapt to it. And we're going to do that by maybe diversifying into markets we weren't in before. We're no longer going to just be a company that brings you TV through a satellite. We're going to be a company that will do that, plus maybe sell you phone service, plus stream it, Plus, now they have a fiber network they're building out. And heck, their techs will even come to your home and install a Roku, all kinds of stuff. So all kind of internet things, as they call it. So I'd love to know what you think of what Dish is up to, and I'd love to know what you think of this deal. Next story. AT&T Sports Nets has been one of the main issues with cord cutting. They haven't been very cord cutting friendly. AT&T Sports Net Southwest, which is the Houston one, is the only one that AT&T networks streaming. It's available on Fubo, but that's it. Now a report has come out that says that AT&T is reportedly considering selling off their sports nets. AT&T has a lot of debt. Sometime earlier this year, if I remember correctly off the top of my head, I don't have the number in front of me, about $180 billion in debt from things like buying Time Warner and buying DirecTV and all the other stuff they're doing right now. It's not just those two things, but those are a big contributor to it. Now it's been reported that AT&T is looking to sell it for about $1 billion. They have a few networks, and it's not nearly as big as the Fox regional sports networks were. So it'll be very interesting to see. At this point, anyone would be almost more cord cutting friendly when it comes to sports networks. For some reason, AT&T, even though they own DirecTV, has not been interested in bringing their regional sports networks, or AT&T Sports Nets, which used to be called Root Sports, back when they were owned by DirecTV before the merger happened. They haven't come to any really streaming service other than that one in Houston. So I'm very interested to see what's happening there. I'd love to know what AT&T's long-term plans are. And I'd love to know what you think, who should buy it. Some people throw out Sinclair. I think that's unlikely. I do not think the Justice Department would approve Sinclair buying both the Fox Regional Sports and the AT&T Regional Sports. But I didn't think, well, I thought AT&T would be able to buy Time Warner. I didn't think they would be able to buy it with no restrictions on their ability to do it. I thought there would be some limitations put on that deal. So, I guess at this point, anything's possible. But my guess would be that Sinclair is unlikely. So, who would you like to see buy these? Would you like to see maybe ESPN pick them up? Disney would love to have them. Department of Justice wasn't a big fan of that. But leave me a comment. Let me know. I'd love to know what you think of this deal and who you want them to be sold to. All right, are you having buffering on your Fire TV, Roku, etc., but you have really fast internet? This has been an issue that's been coming up more and more, and I've noticed it's coming a lot from mesh routers. And one of the reasons that happens is they use an intelligent system to do two things. A, to pick off and say, hey, this device will be in the 5G and this device will be in the 2.4 gigahertz network. And they also prioritize devices. But the good news is you can override that. Now these networks try to do things like, hey, we're going to try to give more speed to your computer than we're going to give to maybe your smart fridge or your Ring doorbell system. The problem with that is some readers have reported that it's down prioritizing some like Roku's, Fire TVs, and Apple TVs. The good news is you can override that. You can go in there and say, hey, I'm going to go and set a prioritization for my Roku, my Apple TV, etc. And if you are suffering buffering, I hear this all the time, like, hey, when I speed test my computer, I get buffering on my Roku. By speed test my computer, I get 100, 200 down. My Roku's getting 20, 30 down. This is a common thing I hear. It's probably being caused by prioritization issues. So I would suggest you go into your settings, and I posted a guide on how to do this with a Google Wi-Fi, but there's other devices out there that do this also. You're going to have to look at your manual to see how the prioritization in your router works if you're using a mesh network. You can go in there and say, hey, the Roku, I want that to be the primary one. I want that to be prioritized in speed and data so that when I'm streaming that 4K movie or that live TV service, it gets priority streaming versus maybe my cell phone that's just surfing Facebook, for example. So I'll put a link in the show notes down below to how to do that. I'd love to know from you though, have you ever experienced that? Have you ever had the ability, gone in there and tweaked with the priority of, I want this to be a bigger priority than my fridge, than my maybe dishwasher, or whatever else you may have on a Wi-Fi network. I'd love to know if you've had that experience, if you've noticed an improvement with that. I did when I went in there and prioritized certain devices, but at the same time, it's not a be-all, end-all fix. Just keep that in mind. All right, next video or next story, I should say. Amazon wants millions in damages from the IPTV service SetTV. So if you remember, it wasn't that long ago, over a year ago, that SetTV was probably the largest IPTV service. They were marketing everywhere. They were highly aggressive, selling a huge list of channels for about $20 if I remember correctly. Well, Dish sued them, Ace sued them, which represents a whole bunch of companies, including Netflix and Amazon, along with a bunch of Hollywood studios, saying they didn't have the rights to do that. SetTV shut down. More recently, you probably remember reporting that the SetTV owners and the company have stopped responding to the courts. They didn't appear for or didn't arrange deposition. Their lawyers walked off the case, citing non-payment. Well, and this led to the judge basically declaring them in default. I'm not a lawyer, not going to get into the legal aspect of it, but basically saying they're not responding to the court this time. Now Ace is asking for a default judgment against them of millions of dollars. Seems pretty clear that these companies want to make an example of these people. Dish has even gone after some resellers, people who use the affiliate program to resell these IPTV services for millions of damages. So it'd be very interesting to see, or excuse me, Dish got millions of damages from SetTV. I'm not sure how much they got from the reseller. It'd be very interesting to see how this works. Now, we have seen a growing number of IPTV services shut down. Even though we haven't necessarily seen them sued, it does seem like Dish is trying to use the hammer of the legal system, along with Ace, to say, hey, if you run an IPTV service or you're reselling IPTV for somebody, we intend to sue you into oblivion. And we intend to do that to make an example out of you for other people, to let them know that, hey, if you do this with our content too, we're going to come after you. So it seems like that may be what's happening here. I'd love to know, how effective do you think that is? For all the people who would say, no, it's not effective, I'm not going to go do it. It has been slightly effective when the so-called Cody boxes. These devices you buy this $300 crazily priced device, you get TV for life. They've really cracked down on them in the United States. The sellers of the devices here in the United States have definitely become very concerned about and walked away. We've seen it with Kodi add-ons. We've seen some developers in the UK face criminal prosecution. Now, will it be successful or not? But it has driven some other developers to say, you know what? I have no interest in facing criminal prosecution. So just keep that in mind. So I'll be interested to see, though, how effective do you think it is? Do you think the threat of serious financial destruction, I mean, at the point where you're talking about tens of millions of dollars to Dish, tens of millions of dollars to Ace, plus all your legal bills, that can really, really damage or really scare some people, I should say. So I'd love to know what you think of that. All right, last story of the day. The Office leaving Netflix is not the end of cord cutting. Now, you probably heard that at the start of 2021, don't mind that behind me, let me grab that. This is why I usually don't do the Fire TV. No matter how many times I said it, it still likes to go into the screensaver. So, you probably heard Netflix's 2021 is dropping The Office. NBC's decided not to renew their deal with Netflix. And it's pretty typical, right? We've seen this time and time again. A show is on Netflix or Hulu for years and years. The deal comes up, it's not renewed. It's rotated. Now you have a year and a half to continue to watch The Office before it reverts over to NBC, and they intend to put it on their new streaming service. We've seen a flood of posts about how, this is the end of cord cutting, right? Cord cutting is over. You got to get, if you want The Office, you got to get, go and buy NBC service. Not really. That's kind of a stupid argument, to be honest with you. The reality is, if you really love The Office that much, and The Office is the only reason you would get a new service, don't do it. You can go on eBay and buy whole sets of seasons of The Office on DVD for like $4. It's a really good deal. And if you think about it, if you're paying $10, $12 for Netflix every month just to get The Office, you're paying $120 a year for that, year after year after year, where you could easily buy just one season. This is one of the things I also see with live TV, right? This fear that, hey, I got the live TV and I want to get this particular channel because it has one show on it I want to watch. So I'm going to go and pay for a $5, $10, or $15 higher package to do that. Maybe you just buy a season pass on Amazon. You know, if you still want to stream it, you don't want a DVD, heck, get a season pass on iTunes, Amazon, Vudu, wherever you buy your movies or TV shows. Just keep in mind, you don't necessarily need to be buying a new service for that. So this argument that cord cutting is coming to an end, everything's going to become ridiculously expensive because the office is switching what service it's available on, is kind of a false argument, because we see this with cable, right? Who here has ever loved a TV show and just loved it? I mean, I used to come home from work, I'd turn on the TV, and The Simpsons would be on every day when I got home from work. I always remember that. I would turn it on, watch it, The Simpsons, as I would make myself dinner, get ready for it. It was airing, I forget what time, it was like 6 o'clock or something on the local Fox affiliate. Well, eventually they stopped doing that. Did I then go, what did I have any option? Oh, well, I could go buy a DVD, I could do all kinds of things. I could buy a higher tier, the DVR, to record it, watch it then. But this isn't an exclusive issue to cord cutting. It's something we see with cable and all kinds of properties out there. So I'd love to know what you think of this. Are you somebody who's a TV show that you love so much that you're willing to pay for it? For us, it was King of the Hill. King of the Hill used to be on Netflix. Well, it left. My wife absolutely loves King of the Hill, and I do too, I won't lie. So we picked it up on Amazon Prime. We just picked up a season here, maybe next month we'll pick up another season, and eventually we had all of them. And now that we've had those for like 5 years, we don't even, I mean, the money we've saved versus just paying for a service exclusively to get King of the Hill has been huge. So I'd love to know what you think. What show do you love so much that you would buy it? And do you really think this is the end of cord cutting? I'd love to hear from you. Well, I hope you all have a fantastic 4th of July. We'll be back on Friday, July 5th, with a normal Cord Cutting Today show. So I hope you all take care. Hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you on Friday.